Welcome to yet another edition of the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard show for Saturday, September 9th, 2017. I'm your host, Walter Johnson, and this is a very have to say this is a very and, challenging weekend in high school football in week 4 of the regular season's now in the books. And I say it's a challenging weekend because you got Hurricane Irma and getting ever closer and closer to the United States and supposed to make a landfall late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. And some people might say it's around, say, 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in early morning hours of Sunday, September 10th of 2017. And a lot of games involving teams in the Southwest Georgia Network coverage area were canceled due to Hurricane Irma. And among those was Sherwood Christian, who was set to take on Lanier. And that game was scheduled for Saturday. And that game was canceled, and Lowndes out of Valdosta was set to host Shiloh out of Gwinnett County in the metro Atlanta area. But logistics issues and having to make it a long trip down I-75 and then coming back. And proved to be concerned. And that game was canceled, and North Florida Christian out of Tallahassee, Florida, was supposed to make the trip up U.S. Highway 319, crossing the state line to Georgia to face Brookwood of Thomasville. But that game's been called off. The same thing for Valwood out of Valdosta, traveling to the Georgia coast near Brunswick to take on Frederica. And those were the canceled games. Let's take a look at the games that were actually played on this week of Friday, September 19th, 2017 or 2017, and start on Thursday night. And we'll start on Thursday night at Humil Stadium in Albany. And the Monroe Tornadoes played host to the Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets and the Class AAA Tornadoes. Actually jumped out to a 13-0 lead early, but the Class 5A Yellow Jackets rallied for a 33-32 win. And that win snaps a 2-game losing streak for the Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets. Their head coach Bill Shaver, and also 15 straight wins for Thomas County Central over Monroe. Monroe's last win over Thomas County Central came way back in 1990, and that doesn't seem like yesterday. Only seemed like yesterday to find the last time a Monroe football team knocked off Thomas County Central. And in a long time. And Charlie Ward had moved on to Florida State by then. The star player for the Yellow Jackets. But on Thursday night, September 7th, it was Thomas County Central edging Monroe of Albany in Albany, 33-32 at Humil Stadium. And that was on Thursday, September 7th, 2017. And moving on to the Friday night games. And the Friday night game at Humil Stadium pitted the Daugherty Trojans from East Albany against the Westover Patriots from Northwest Albany. And Westover jumped out to a 13-0 lead. And then at the end of the lead, about early in the second quarter, and it was 6-0 at the end of the first quarter in Westover's favor. And then Westover jumped out to a 13-0 lead. And then Doherty closed the gap toward halftime. And then made it 13-7. And then Doherty scored again during the third quarter. Tied the score at 13 apiece. However, Westover would score 27 unanswered points down the stretch, and Westover pulled out a 40-13 win over Doherty. And with the win, Westover goes to 2-1 on the season. It's a 2-1, while Doherty falls to 1-3. And St. Monroe, with their loss to Thomas County Central in the Thursday night game at Hemo Stadium, falls to 1-2. And Westover is the only public school team in Albany that even has a winning record right now. And the only undefeated team in the immediate Metro Albany area would be the Lee County Trojans out of Leesburg, Georgia. And Lee County started the season at 4-0. Lee County's now 4-0 after a 49-14 win over the America Sumter Panthers, some 20 miles further up the road from Leesburg out of Americus, Georgia. And Lee County goes to 4-0 on the season. And next up for the Trojans, yet another home game against Luella High School out of Luella, Georgia, in Henry County. That is weather permitting. And weather permitting, reason I say weather permitting is because of Hurricane Irma. And there's also a flash flood watch for much of southeast Georgia, from Brunswick to say around Coffee, Atkinson, Clinch counties, until 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Monday night. Not only a flash flood watch for southeast Georgia, I'm sure there'll be watches and warnings for southwest Georgia, especially close to Albany. And it seems like further east of Albany, and then this someone is the more likely it'll be that that there will be some heavy rainfall, along with some winds, some very, very damaging winds. So anyone that's listening right now, and the time to prepare is now, right now. I do mean right now. Storms like these don't fool around. Anyways, back to the scores from last night. And mentioned earlier, Lee County now 4-0 after a 49-14 win over America Sumter. And meanwhile, the Worth County Rams are still looking for win number 1 under first-year head coach Ben Simmons. And the Rams traveled to Blakely, Georgia, to face the Early County Bobcats. And yet another first-year head coach in Joel Harvin. And so the battle of first-year head coaches. You're seeing, and Ben Simmons, first year at Worth County. And it's been 2 years prior to this year, right next door to the east in Turner County. But Early County Bobcats kept the Worth County Rams winless with a 36-4 win over the Worth County Rams. And Early County is now 2-1 on the season. You see their win total all last season, all of 2016. And the Bobcats were just 1-8-1 in their final season under head coach Trey Wolf, who stepped down during this past off season. Once again, the final score: Early County 36, Worth County 4. And the Rams fall to 0-4 on the season with that loss. And they're gonna move right along here. And down in Cairo, Georgia, and the Cairo Syrup Makers coming off of a 24-0 shutout win over Thomas County Central, faced their third and final rival, and they faced another one of their arch rivals from along U.S. Highway 84 in the Bainbridge Bearcats. It was the final non-region contest of the season. It was Bainbridge winning easily over Cairo 49-22, and Bainbridge built up a lead of 14-0 and 21-8 respectively, and just basically cruised from there. And the final score once again: Bainbridge 49, Cairo 22, and some Region 1 Single A scores. And in Region 1 Single A scores, and a bit of a surprise, and a bit of a surprise from that prize. It was Mitchell County and Camilla, and knocking off Miller County 34-23, while Seminole County fell to Chattahoochee County. Final score 35-30, and a battle between a Class Single A team from Middle Georgia and a Class Double A team from South Georgia. It was the Macon County Bulldogs, the Class Single A team, and the defending state champions in the Class Single A public school subdivision, if you will. Knocked off the Fitzgerald Purple Hurricanes. Final score 42-21. Macon County wins it, and Fitzgerald falls to 1-3. And not the same team that reached the state championship game in Class AA in 2 years in a row. And another team that's fallen on hard times has fallen on hard times, and has been the Valdosta Wildcats. And the Wildcats fall to 1-3, same record as Fitzgerald's. And the Tift County Blue Devils improved to 4-0 with a 20-10 victory. And Valdosta, the defending GHSA Class Single A state champions fall to 1-3, and they're really struggling to find magic that helped them win it all last year. Finished 14-1 overall, 14-2 if you kind of lost to a team from Arizona, say in a postseason bowl game. But again, like they say, that was then. This is now, and right now. I mean, Valdosta is just struggling to find any kind of consistency. And Tift County, on the other hand, now 4-0, and the Blue Devils look like a very serious contender in GHSA Region 17A, and down in Moultrie, and the team that has bounced back tremendously is the Colquitt County Packers, and the Packers are now 4-0 on the season as they shut out Roswell out of the Metro Atlanta area, 20-0 the final score. And tremendous turnaround for Colquitt County. Team started 0-4 last season, then won 6 straight regular season games, and they win the Region 1 4A title, and then won a couple of games in the playoffs, and lost in the quarterfinal round, in 7A last year. And right now, I mean, it seems like the Packers have regained the form that helped to win back-to-back state titles in Class 6A. And once again, the final score, Colbert County 28, Roswell nothing. And we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap this up with look at some of the scores in the GISA. And the Deerfield Windsor Knights from Albany are now 3-1 on the season with a 28-7 win over the Hornets at the Westfield School out of Perry, Georgia. And a big win for head coach Alan Lowe and the Knights. And Southland Academy and Stomp Terrell Academy in convincing fashion. 51-0 the final score there. And Trinity Christian out of Sharpsburg, Georgia, a team that Deerfield defeated 26-16 in a regular season opener way back on August 11th. It only seems like yesterday. And then just absolutely walloped Westwood out of Camilla, 62-0 the final score. And also Southwest Georgia Academy, the Warriors, won 50-0 over Flint River Academy. And Flint River Academy is located in Woodbury, Georgia, in the west central part of the state. And so that's going to wrap up, and it basically just wraps up the score updates for this installment of the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard. And before signing off for this weekend, I do want to remind those that are listening, and which will soon become a replay, and that they can visit the Southwest Georgia Network online at southwestgeorgianetwork.com, and there they can listen to some podcasts and read a few printed articles at southwestgeorgianetwork.com. And remember to also follow on Twitter at SWGA Network. And then, and as I said at the beginning of this broadcast tonight, it's been a very challenging, very challenging weekend. A very challenging weekend. And as far as the weather, it could be a very rough weekend at that. And you see in the latest reports say, Hurricane Irma is a Category 5 hurricane, at least 160 miles per hour, very strong. So remember to follow the Southwest Georgia Network on Twitter at SWGA Network. SWGA Network, and that's where you'll find at SWGA Network. That's where you'll find the Southwest Georgia Network on Twitter. And on that note, they'll wrap up this edition of the Midnight Blitz Scoreboard Show. And this has been your host, Walter Johnson. Thanks for listening. And remember to be careful out there, stay safe, and pay attention. Good night, good morning, everybody.